Hello and welcome to our coverage of the final of the Sybase Open, the ATP Tour event in San Jose, which is in Northern California. My name's Chris Bowers and I'll be escorting you through highlights of the match that took place on Sunday night. That's in the small hours of this morning by European times. And ever since Thomas Muster, this week's new #1, went out in the first round in Dubai on Wednesday, we've known that an Agassi Sampras final in San Jose would be for the #1 ranking, and that's what we have. The 18th meeting between these two great rivals, and to confirm, whoever wins this will be this week's #1 ranked player. A look at Andre Agassi, 25 years old, ranked third for this tournament, though he's seeded #1 because the seedings were based on the positions in the world rankings a week earlier when he was ahead of Pete Sampras. Born, raised and living in Las Vegas, Nevada, 1m81 or 5'11". Lost just one match this year. That was the semi-final of the Australian Open against Michael Chang. His opponent, his arch-rival Pete Sampras. Sampras says of Agassi that he's the only player who I know that on his day can beat me. Well, when Sampras has a good day, Agassi can still beat him, and that's saying something. 24 years old, born in Washington, D.C., raised in California, now lives in Tampa in Florida. Ranked #2 during this tournament and seeded 2 as well. The routes to the final: Agassi in the first round beat an American wildcard, Ryan Walters, 6-2, 6-2. In the second round, Jonathan Stark, 6-4, 6-4. As Agassi's coach, Brad Gilbert. In the quarterfinals, he beat Richie Renneberg, 7-6, 6-4. And in the semi-finals, taken to 3 sets by Michael Chang. 6-2, 5-7, 6-4, the score on that one. Pete Sampras in the first round beat Tommy Ho of America, 6-4, 6-3. In the second round, he beat the top Portuguese player, Nuno Marques, 6-4, 7-6. In the quarterfinals, Greg Rosetsky. Sampras winning 6-7, 6-3, 6-4. And in the semi-finals, 7-6, 6-3 over Jan Kroslak. Sampras to start the match. Rich Kaufman, the umpire. This is their 18th meeting. In the 17 previous ones, Sampras leads 9-8. And he's won 5 of their 8 meetings on hard court. There's many ways you can bill an Agassi-Sampras match. One of the favourites is the world's greatest server against the world's greatest returner. Sampras the server, Agassi the returner. And so you'll get some errors like that from Sampras. Put in a very good serve, but it was returned with interest. And the faster he hits the serve, the less time he has to get into the net behind it.
Sampras, first game.
There's a lot of discussion about the #1 ranking. It'll change hands for the 3rd time after this match. Sampras started the year as #1. Agassi became #1 after the Australian Open, and Thomas Muster has been #1 just for this 1 week.
Time.
Basically, when the rankings were devised, they were never meant to be poured over in the sense of people pouring over the #1 position. They were devised primarily to create a fair system of entry into tournaments so that the best players got into tournaments. There's Paul Annacone on the left, Pete Sampras' good friend and acting coach in the continued absence through illness of Tim Gullickson. I'll come back to the discussion about the #1 ranking in a minute, but Agassi serving.
Love 15.
That was the final of the US Open.
Love 30.
Sampras has dropped his serve just twice during this tournament, and both were very early in matches against Rosetsky in the quarters and Kroslak in the semis.
Love 40.
Brad Gilbert would have been even less amused than Agassi at that awful volley. 3 break points for Sampras. This is the electronic device, the sensor, that sends a signal to the umpire's chair when the ball touches the net on a serve.
Sampras leads 2-love.
This gives Pete Sampras the break, but that forehand set it up. This one was not a routine put away. Sense of timing here. Very impressive. Not easy to get the timing right and to get the ball off the middle of the racket when it's played at shoulder height. We are talking about a man who's been at #1 in the world for 113 of the last 147 weeks. Pete Sampras serving 2-love up first set.
Love 15.
Reference to Pistol Pete, as he's sometimes known. Well, very difficult for the umpire to judge along the centre line, along the service lines hard enough. Having seen the camera eye view of that, I would say that the call was correct. Agassi yet ready to find his rhythm. Just making a few too many mistakes. It's Brad Gilbert. Nothing wrong with the rhythm on that return. Interesting camera angle. Gives you an idea about roughly how far in front of the body the players play the ball. Oh, Pistol Pete firing on all cylinders. Great start for Sampras. Just the one break, but 3-love first set. Love 3 first set.
15.
He's such a complete player, Pete Sampras, that it's easy to forget that he has a really powerful weapon. He has two really powerful weapons, his serving and his forehand. But his backhand and volleys would be a powerful weapon by most players' standards.
40-15.
So Agassi with 2 points to win his first game.
Sampras leads 3-1.
Sampras 3-1 first set.
God damn it!
15-love.
You'd never tell that Agassi considered himself a born-again Christian, would you? The balance that Sampras has and the timing. Beautifully poised player. And at that he misses a backhand volley, but then it was a dipping return.
40-15.
That is, oh dear, quick calculation, 185 kilometers an hour. Just to go back to the Roll of Honour, this tournament, Agassi's won it 3 times. Just to go back to the #1 debate, there's a lot of questions being asked when Muster got to #1, whether a player who's got most of his points on one surface, in Muster's case clay, really deserves to be #1 in the world. As I was saying, I don't think it's really an issue in the sense of #1 in the world is just the person who happens to be top of the rankings. And most players say that what matters more to them is actually winning tournaments. Personally, I found it rather sad that there was a lot of distractions against Muster getting to #1. I think it was a wonderful story, a man overcoming considerable odds to get there, if you think of the accident he had in Key Biscayne in '89. But there you go. Agassi serving 1-4 first set. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. These two do produce such wonderful tennis. That's why there's so much excitement about their rivalry. It's the baseliner against the server and volleyer. So you get such a wonderful mixture. It's not surprising that these two have greater respect for each other than they do for Muster. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just slightly unfortunate the way they begrudged him. Not that they said it directly, but they gave the impression that they sort of felt it was slightly unfair that he had become #1 in the world, which is, I think, rather a shame. Incidentally, Muster will remain above the loser of this match in the rankings in the coming week. Muster will be #2 whatever happens. The winner here will be #1 and the loser #3. What wonderful tennis. I know you can't have these guys playing every week, but this is just such a credit to the game. Who can say tennis is dying when you see rallies like that? Great sport, great athleticism, great tennis, great entertainment. One 4-30 all.
Deuce.
Beautifully disguised. Sampras shapes to play this across court, but he's just got his body slightly, the left hip slightly further round, and takes the ball a fraction later, and it changes direction.
Advantage Agassi. Agassi. Sampras leads 4-2.
Sampras 4-2, first set.
Luck of team.
Agassi still not consistent enough. Every time he looks to be getting his range on his returns of serve, he misses the next one.
Let's 30-15.
Agassi succeeding in getting the rallies a bit longer. You get the feeling that once it goes over about 10 strokes, Agassi has the greater edge. Now then, 4-2, 30 all. Oh yes. It's the control at such reach. Fully extended arm. Perfect placement. Break point for Agassi to get back the break he dropped earlier. Somehow he's a little bit tentative on these backhands. I don't really know why. Maybe he just hasn't quite got the feel yet.
Advantage Sampras.
Quite voluble today is Agassi. It's probably the sense of frustration that his ground strokes aren't as reliable as he'd like them to be. And Pete Sampras with a point for 5-2.
And Sampras, ball change.
Sampras then, Sampras, not Sampras, 5-2. Agassi 2-5, first set, serving with new balls. Yes, that's the new thing. The Australian Open, you could have got your hair cut like Agassi, and then you paint on the goatee beard.
Fifteen all.
If you've been watching tennis with us all year, especially the Australian, you'll know that Andre's hair is as long now as it's been at any stage of the year. But yet to hit the form that he hit this time last year. This time last year, Andre was just coming up to being world number one, but was playing like a number one, pre-invincible.
Thirty all.
He's lost a bit of the sharpness that he had. He won this tournament last year, he won Scottsdale, beaten in the final of Indian Wells, and then won the Lipton. Both those finals against Sampras. That miscued squash shot gives Sampras break point and set point.
Code violation of use of balls. Warning, Mr. Agassi.
Yes, well, it was coming, the warning. Andre is not happy out there, primarily with his own form. I don't think there's anybody else he's frustrated with. And, centre line judge coming to have a word with Rich Kaufman. Has Andre said something?
Very loud. Yes.
Well, I think the centre line judge was warning Rich Kaufman of an audible obscenity. And I think Kaufman decided that it was unfair to give two warnings at one go. That's my interpretation of it. It's a difficult situation for a line judge because, oh, she's back again. I think Andre said something to her.
He said that if he wants me to hit my ass next time you come, I can do it. Yes, he did.
Code violation on sportsmanlike conduct. Point penalty, Mr. Agassi.
Well, he's one further transgression away from being disqualified. He loses a point. Line judges are supposed to inform the umpire of any transgressions. Problem is, when they do so, it does so reek of telling tales. But it's now got to the stage where Andre cannot afford to make his feelings known to this line judge anymore. It's now 30-love.
First game, second set.
Well, that situation also puts the umpire in a difficult position, because given that it was the second transgression, and the line judge was absolutely adamant about what she was saying, I think he had to really back her. Well, that's Tom Barnes, the supervisor, talking with Kaufman. Andre's having a bad day. That happens. Until that point, he hadn't taken it out on anybody except himself. But he knows the rules, and I think they have been correctly interpreted, even though it's somewhat unfortunate the way they've been interpreted.
Lovely team.
Whenever John McEnroe used to get angry, he played that much better. It raised his game. Andre's in a bit of trouble here. Yep. I remember Andre Agassi playing a brilliant final set against Thomas Muster, second round of the French a couple of years ago. He had a point penalty deducted. He was close to being defaulted, and he really put his mind to the task and came back from 5-love down to level at 5-all, though he did eventually lose the set. But he needs to concentrate like that now, because Sampras is playing far too well to allow Agassi any leeway. Break point for Sampras.
He leads 2-love.
Sampras 2-love, second set.
15.
Well, this best of 3 set final, crowd clearly want a third set. The neutrals are backing Agassi now. He also has a bit of a villain status, given that he's one further transgression short of being disqualified. Right, now a glimmer of a chance for Andre Agassi. Oh, great play.
All.
Right. In fact, he's going to come back. Surely this has got to be the time. Only his second break point of the match. Oh, unlucky. It had beaten Sampras. But I think Agassi knew from the moment it left his racket that it had just gone too far. 2-love deuce. Wasn't the most powerful volley ever, but look at the depth that Sampras got on that backhand volley, right into the corner.
Sampras release.
Sampras survives the storm, saves the break point, and leads by a set and 3-love. Jumped 2 games, both have gone with serve, so it's Sampras leading 4-1, Agassi serving. It's 2 lines that Agassi hit.
15.
Sampras would dispute that. And it was a line that Richard Kaufman could have been expected to see as well.
31.
Just about sums up Agassi's day. He's played some good rallies, but hasn't made nearly enough winners. And having done the hard work, he then blew the put-away shot. Well, he'll keep on fighting, but you get the impression that Andre's rather given up this match. Just the one breakdown, though.
40, 30.
And while Sampras is playing well, it's not entirely error-free, which gives Agassi the chance.
Sampras leads 14.
Sampras 4-2, second set.
15 love.
And the first ace of the match, would you believe? Sampras' 38th of the week. He's gone back to taking the second ball from the ball boy. At the start of the year, he was taking both balls before the point and putting one in his pocket. But since he's been playing in these baggy shorts, he's taken the second one from the ball boy, and he's gone back to that now. Couple of errors, and surprising how the situation could change. 15-30. Agassi just perhaps sensing a chance. Sampras rightly taking his time. The crowd sensing that This might be a bit of a turning point. How often has that serve saved Pete Sampras? Still a break point. Oh. 185 kilometers an hour, but it wasn't the speed, it was the placement.
Advantage Sampras.
198 kilometers an hour. And a point for 5-2. That also sums up Agassi's day. A serve that sat up reasonably well for Agassi, stepped in, took it early, but missed. So Sampras just a game off, returning to number 1 in the rankings. Agassi looks like staying where he is at number 3. Agassi 2-5, final set. Second set. Sampras has this very nice way of making it clear that he thought the decision was wrong. He stops, he pauses, nothing said. Sampras was also a model of dignity when he lost to Mark Philippoussis at the Australian Open. No excuses. No excuses. 1 or 2 explanations. Extremely dignified. Great champion. And in this slightly disappointing final, that forehand from Agassi put Sampras within 2 points of his first ever San Jose title. This is only the second time he's played this tournament, although it was originally the San Francisco tournament. This is only the 4th year it's been played at the San Jose Arena. Well, the second set going very like the first. An early break for Sampras. At 2-5 he broke Agassi in the first set. He has a match point to do the same now. It's taken Agassi until the 16th game of the match to produce any aces. That's his second. Agassi relies so much on the accuracy of those ground strokes that when they miss, Sampras does have one tremendous advantage. Second championship point for Pete Sampras. Not the most brilliant place from which to play a drop shot. And it gives Sampras his third championship point. Agassi looks a bit like he's going through the motions at the moment. He's still trying, but maybe not with all his effort. Sampras has got to keep his concentration. It is still only the one break of serve. Well, it will probably only prolong the inevitable, but Agassi gives himself a fighting chance. 3 championship points he saved. Sampras now serving with new balls for the title. He didn't break a string then. He chose to switch rackets. I think feeling the tension wasn't quite right. There you go, they're all intact. And by the fact that he trotted to the chair rather than ambled. Well, Agassi still in with a chance. 5-3, 30 all. It was called out. So Sampras has 4th championship point, but the first one on his serve. And a point to go back to number 1 in the world. Not that it'll make a great deal of difference to him. He worries a lot more about who's number 1 at the end of the year than in the second month of the year. In fact, I think we must fairly say there are 3, probably even 4 with Becker, players who could be number 1. Which shows a great fight at the top of men's tennis, as Pete Sampras takes his first tournament title of the year. 7th victory of the year, just the 1 defeat to Mark Philippoussis in Melbourne. He goes to number 1, Musta number 2, Agassi number 3, Becker number 4, but all of them could be number 1 in the world within the next month or two. That's the great fight. This is Chris Bowers thanking you for watching our coverage from San Jose.